Welcome to the week 2 of our panel webinars with KZN Top Business Women 2022, where we are going to be engaging with the finalists. It's the second round, and we're chatting to women in KZN who have exemplified performance, innovation in their sector, and also contributed to their communities. I'm Zanele Luvuno, and I will be your host for this webinar. Welcome, ladies. Everybody's on silence. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do 60 seconds. Each individual tell us a little bit about yourself, but you kind of got to sum it up and keep it to the 60 seconds so that we can manage time. Who's going to go first? Carol.
Hi, Zanele, and good evening to everyone. I'm Carol Katsia. I got 2 gorgeous children. I've been in government for 30 years. I've been in various executive positions. At the moment, I'm the head of the Provincial Treasury in KwaZulu-Natal. And yeah, I'm very passionate about the public sector and contributing to our society. And I do believe that there's so much more that can still be done. Great to be here with all of you.
Fantastic, thank you. Can I ask you a few questions?
Of course.
Okay. Awesome. So tell us, what do you think the greatest challenges that are facing public sector in KZN are in 2022?
I think our biggest challenge is, first of all, we've got fiscal constraints where, as we know, government has been trying to manage the debt at a country level, and as a result, there have been huge budget cuts. This has really had an impact on departments being able to deliver on services. But I do believe that there is a manner in which we can spend more efficiently and obviously deliver more effectively. So there are mechanisms we can put in place. I think we also have a large number of vacancies in critical positions, particularly in the financial management areas. And this is where you're starting to see that increase in corruption, irregular expenditure. And this is areas that we really need to focus on and strengthen. And as the Provincial Treasury, that's our role. We're there to guide departments, put practices and controls in place. We provide a shared internal audit service. And so it's really important that we ensure that the public funds are spent the way that they're supposed to be spent.
Fantastic. That's great to hear, and it's great to hear women of your caliber in that position. How is our provincial government doing in terms of gender equality and equity in the workplace?
Well, the exciting thing that happened after the elections in August was we've got a new female premier, Nomse Dube. She was actually my MEC before that. Our cabinet has got more than 50% representation, which is phenomenal. At a head of department level, we're lacking a bit, but the number of acting positions, I'm hoping I'll see a few more ladies joining the heads of department level. But in my own department, I've finally reached the 50% mark at a management level. So we're definitely seeing that happening. A lot of young African females that we have trained through our chartered accountant program that are now coming through, filtering through the lower middle management levels. And that's really what we want to see in government. We want to see professional young women coming through and really driving a change, I think, in terms of values and ethics in the public sector space.
That's fantastic to hear, and I think gives everybody hope. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Samantha, 60 seconds. Tell us a bit about yourself in the context of your work as well.
Okay, so my name's Samantha Croft. I've been in the hospitality business straight from school. So I started right at the bottom as a trainee. I have one daughter and a new little grandbaby. So I'm a new, I like to say nana rather than granny, but I could say now I've earned my gray hairs. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I've been in Durban for the last 12 years, which is the longest I've lived in one city since I left school.
Fantastic. And where are you currently with Tsoko?
Yeah, so we're called Southern Sun now because Tsoko Sun and Southern Sun have split. So Southern Sun is the hotel business. So I'm based in Durban, and I look after the KZN region as well as the portfolio of resorts.
Fantastic. And how's tourism doing in KZN as compared to the other provinces?
Well, you know, we have a joke and we say all we need now is the locusts or the plague, and then we've had everything thrown at us. But But we do think that as KZNers, if nothing else, we've got tenacity, right? Yeah. So it feels like as we overcome one hurdle, there's another one there. So yeah, we think that we don't think all is lost. Working hard with the city to overcome this last obstacle of the sewage issue, so that we can try and ensure that we have at least a fairly reasonable season.
Fantastic. And how is the hospitality industry in terms of transformation, women in leadership, in the higher sort of middle management and up?
I must say it's transformed over the years. Like many years ago, when I first joined the industry, there were very few female general managers. I mean, you were lucky if you made a departmental head. I must say now that we have, and then it slowly transpired, and it was mainly 3-star hotels had female general managers. And I must say now within our group, probably close to maybe more than 50% are female. And yeah, our transformation process is kind of on track.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pre-owner, 60 seconds, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Priyona Naidu. I am the brand, customer experience, and marketing manager for the Supertech Group. The Supertech Group is a mini Motorrad and BMW dealership group. We are one of the largest in South Africa. And I'm very proud to say that I am part of a team that is taking the general concept of automotive and the expectations of what retailers are, and sort of shifting it and starting to tap into hospitality and making it a lifestyle brand rather than just a typical shop where you go to look for cars or service or repairs.
Awesome. Thank you. And Supertech is one of our sponsors. And you being in brand obviously would have been part of the decision-making process to get involved in this project. Why this project? What is it about this that appealed to you?
So from a personal perspective, women empowerment is such a dear project to my heart. I've been in industry for a little over a decade, and starting from a filing position and watching the different women in different positions put in 110% just to be acknowledged at the same level as our male counterparts has really sort of lit a fire within me to provide a platform for all women within my industry to have a voice. From a group perspective, we have a great relationship with KZN Top Business. We've always had a very fruitful partnership, and we believe in the initiatives and the platforms that they create to give a voice to the people to speak out about what they're doing and what they're achieving within their spaces.
Do you think, thank you for that. Do you think that a lot of the transformation, and maybe this is a question to everyone, a lot of the transformation we see would be happening if it was not driven by legislation? Do you think that it's a natural evolution of the industries that they had to change as women are entering the workplace more, studying more, et cetera, et cetera? Do you think it would have been a natural evolution, or do you think that it's heavily driven by legislation?
From what I've experienced from a personal point of view, I believe it is a combination of both. I always say, so I've worked with many brands over the years, and I must say the space that I'm in now with Supertech Group has been such a breath of fresh air, because in the past, females have always played the position or always entered the position as an assistant, as a support structure to a main manager or main GM. And where I am at the moment, it's all about your productivity, your work output, what you can achieve as an individual. From an industry norm, I believe legislation has helped a lot of women get to the positions that they deserve based on their own sort of initiatives, the values that they bring, and most importantly, their output, their work output. So I think it's a combination, but I do believe that legislature has allowed us the opportunities that we have now.
Yeah, agreed. Samantha, can I unmute you there?
Yeah, there we go.
Go ahead.
I think it probably did give us a push. I don't think that every industry needs it or wouldn't transform without it. But the one thing that I'm finding, and funny enough, I had the discussion with one of my African general managers today. I have 3 in my portfolio, and I can tell you honestly that they are all there on merit and because they do a phenomenal job and they've earned their stripes. They're not there because I needed to appoint an African female into that position. So I think that there is a danger that it kind of, not cheapens, but it kind of makes the achievement to certain people not real and not hard worked for, if you know what I mean. So I'm all for it, and I think it served its purpose way back, but I don't think it needs to be a blanket like legislature that needs to be applied to every industry, because me personally, I would be quite upset if I was told that I'm only in the position that I'm in because I'm a female. I want to be in the position that I'm in because I'm good at what I do and I deserve the job.
So I'm going to ask a question, heard, and I think what you're saying is quite valid. What do we then make of, I have a recruitment background, so over 2 decades, recruiting sort of from entry-level professionals, young CAs, all the way up to board members of listed businesses. So thousands and thousands of hours of speaking to candidates, speaking to clients, and having witnessed interview processes. Do you think if the legislation was not there, do you think if the legislation was not there, that transformation would have happened at the pace that it's happened, right? And what do you then make of affinity bias? Because it's a very real thing in the hiring process, right? When our clients hire, people tend to hire people that speak to similarities that they have, and we're talking about people's discretionary behavior here. It's the X factor, because if I'm looking for CFOs, I'm going to make an assumption that everybody's got the core technical skills. Everybody's a CASA, they've got the experience that it is that I'm looking for. But it's going to be the X factor, right, that's going to make me pick one person over another. And all the scientific research says, when you look at all the behavioral sciences, that affinity bias is a real thing in the hiring process. People do what is similar and known to them. Do you not think then that those things would be a barrier to transformation? And it has been, if you look at the transformation stats, because they're still not really that great, right? Do you think that then it is not it would not be a barrier to transformation happening at the rate that it should have for it to no longer then be necessary at this stage of our democracy in South Africa?
Yeah, look, I definitely think that if it was not legislated, we'd not be where we are. It definitely did push the transformation process, and rightfully so. And I mean, you do need to be an equal opportunity employer, and at the end of the day, we obviously try. When I hire, I obviously try to hire in accordance with our equity plan. But and you're right, there are some barriers, because I hire, especially in the lower levels, I'd like to hire for attitude and train the skill, because you can't teach someone attitude and tenacity and all those things. And if they've got it, you can teach them, because I've got a mantra that to go up the ladder, you've got to do your 10,000 hours, right? You've got to be, you've got to have those building blocks. You've got to know the root of your business to be able to go up the ladder. So you could train someone on those skills, but if you've got that, if they've got that attitude, you can work so much better with them, you know. And but you're right, from the beginning, if there was no legislation, I don't think we would be where we are, and we're not where we should be. You're 100% right. But I do think one of our hurdles that we've got with the youngsters or the millennials or the Generation X of today is currently they have this thing of instant gratification, right? So they'll go to varsity, they'll get their degree, might even get cum laude. And the expectation is, I'm going to walk into a position now as a top manager. And they don't want to be down the chain. So now you're stuck, because your lower level staff or middle management, they're the ones that need to have that attitude and the acumen, because you've got to build them up to become your senior management. But they don't want to start there. So you're kind of in a catch-22.
Yeah. Yeah. And just a sidebar, can I be, in response to something else you said, is there room for me to be an employment equity hire and fantastic at what it is that I do? Why is there this assumption that because somebody is an employment equity hire, that they do not have the capability to fulfill their job? Because it does tend to exist.
It does. 100%. I don't believe that. So when I hire and I have an equity candidate and they're the best person for the job, they get the job. If they're not quite the best person, I'll hold on a little bit, because you also don't want to set them up for failure. Yeah. You know, it's not a tick box exercise, because you know, these are human beings you're dealing with. They, you know, there's mental issues and all of those things. You know, you don't want to traumatize somebody, and you put them into a position that they're not ready for, not quite capable of. So it's a huge responsibility. And that's what I try and tell my teams is, yes, it's important, and you've got to do whatever you can. And I need evidence of you looking, and recruitment agents or whatever the thing is. But you also don't want to set someone up for failure either.
It's incredibly important. It's important for the organization, I think, as well as for the individual themselves, that it really does have to be the right person for the right job.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it's not about that whole, if you want loyalty, get a dog, but you do want staff, you know, you don't want high staff turnover, because to be honest, you know, every time you train someone up and they just get going, and it takes you months to get someone really, really up to scratch. And, you know, again, their personal issues, you know, that you create by over promoting someone when they're not ready. If, you know, yes, there are times that, you know, I always say you're never ready for your next promotion. Like, there's always going to be something you've got to learn. But if there is like a safety net, and there's some sort of support system and structure in place to support that individual to grow, that's great. But if there isn't, and it's a totally standalone, and you're putting someone in a city like in a Kimberley or Uppington or somewhere where there really is no support, you really don't want someone that's going to sink.
100%. Thank you very much. And thank you for sharing your views with us. Priona has her hand up. You can unmute yourself.
Sorry, I think perhaps I want to add a bit of clarity to my answer when you asked about legislature versus, I think you said somebody getting the position based on merit, yeah? So I believe that legislature has allowed a certain generation which has hiring power to be more open to female candidates. So it may not force them, or it may force them depending on the company that you work with, but it's a topic of discussion now. It's something that is discussed freely, whereas in previous times it was not even discussed. So I think it is, like the previous lady said, it is unfair to use a blanket statement, but I do believe there's merit in terms of the conversations that it has started within companies.
Fantastic, and especially in the automotive industry. I mean, that's a predominantly male industry, for example. Awesome. Thank you very much, Priyona. Nondumiso, you asked me not to start with you. Are you ready for me now? 60 seconds, please.
I'm very, very ready. Good evening, Zanele. Good evening to the beautiful ladies, fellow panelists. My name is Nondumiso Mtwa. I am a daughter. I am a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful sons. I am the CEO and founder of Idwala Property Group, which is a company which I founded after many years of experience in the industry. We specialize in real estate services to businesses and individuals. Our core business is residential and commercial sales, marketing of off-plan developments, valuations. We also have in-house bond aggregation, which is a very, helpful tool for our internal buyers as well as our external clients.
That is awesome. Thank you very much. And tell us, just so we can get some insider trading going, how is the residential property market in KZN going? At some stage, I heard that we were doing incredibly well. Care to share some insights?
Well, actually, the amazing thing is that during the pandemic, we did very, very well. And also post-pandemic as well. I think obviously this would be due to the reduced interest rates, which actually stimulated so much. And it brought up the qualification level of many people. At this very point, when the interest rates kind of bumped up quite a couple of times in the year, we did kind of face a bit of a stalemate. Everybody was wanting to watch, what is going on, especially over the past 2 months. But people will always need property. People will always be buying and selling, because you'll get those who saying, oh my, I have to sell because now the interest rates have jumped up, so I suddenly can't afford. So you will always get the seller end of the market, but also you'll still get buyers who can still afford and who say, you know what, it doesn't matter where the interest rates are. At the end of the day, I need to enter the property market. It may not be at the level I would desire, but I still need a property. I still need a home. So, we are we're still resilient. We're still there. It's still working. It's actually still doing pretty well, I must say.
Sorry. Thank you for that. And barriers to entry for into the property game. What are the key sort of like top barriers to entry?
Previously, as you know, that we were the EAAB, the Estate Agency Affairs Board, which has now become the PPRA, which is the Property Practitioners Regulatory Authority. So now what it has sought to do is, address exactly what you ladies were talking about, the issue of transformation. So I think at this point, we are at a point of now stepping into the PPRA and obviously looking for results, because in terms of transformation, there is much, much to be done in this area. I just think also maybe the general lack of education about the industry, and it's also quite expensive to be an owner of a real estate company. The compliance issues, the PDE, the PDEs, the audit reports, they're quite expensive. You do those annually, the CPDs, and obviously that is over and above the fact that you have to run an office, you have to, there's those expenses, and you'll find months are not the same. So in terms of ownership, owning a real estate company, it definitely is not, something that really still needs transformation and assistance from generally the PPRA, but also just, it's not an easy industry, but it is doable. And a lot has been done. We're not where we were, but we're sure not where we're supposed to be.
100%. Thank you very much. Benita, 60 seconds, please. You are on mute, Benita.
Good evening.
Hi,
everybody. So 60 seconds is not a lot. I've got a lot to say, but I'm going to try and keep it brief. Benita Ardenbaum. I am a wife of 35 years, a mother of 2 adult children, and I am the founder and director of Benita Ardenbaum Attorneys. We are a family law specialist firm, and we do conveyancing as well. The kind of matters that we deal with are divorces, a lot of domestic violence. We deal with international Hague abduction matters, maintenance for children, maintenance for spouses, big custody disputes for children, access to children, and that's just a few of the topics to mention. I am a member of the International Academy of Family Lawyers, and this is where members are chosen by their peers as the most skilled family law specialists in their country. I've been on Media 24 in the newspaper. I've been on East Coast Radio. I have an incredible team of all women attorneys in our firm, and I have an incredible passion to give vulnerable people a voice, and particularly children and women. In our firm, we certainly believe that we make a difference because we can we do change often the trajectory of people's lives, whether it's children, women, men. That certainly has a social impact and a rippled effect. And I always say we change one person, one family, and society as a whole at a time. I've mentored many young women into becoming attorneys, and our uniqueness is that we are available 24/7 for our clients. They come into a very safe space when they come to us. We try and empower them with as much knowledge as we can, because I believe that power is getting as much knowledge available to you so that you can, in fact, make informed decisions. And I just believe that women should actually follow their passion and purpose, because then success will follow.
Fantastic.
So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you so much. How inspiring. I mean, talking about passion and purpose, how did you decide to specialize in family law specifically?
Yeah, so I have an incredible story, and my circumstances actually, my experiences shaped my life into what I am actually doing today. So when my mother was 16 years old, she found out she was pregnant, and she basically starved herself and me in turn for 7 months so that nobody would discover that she was actually pregnant. When they found out she was pregnant, she was whisked away to another city, and because she brought a lot of shame on her family, and I was given up for adoption. And when I was 3 days old, and my mother didn't have a voice and she didn't have a choice. Also, when I was about 6 years old, I was sexually abused. And again, I didn't have a voice. So that actually drove me to find my passion and purpose in life. And that's why I believe that our circumstances and experiences that actually happen to us in our life, that ignites something. I certainly have a fire in my belly, which creates my passion. I love what I do. So, and I do what I love. And I always say my vocation is my vacation, because I can't wait to get up in the morning. I get up at 4:45 in the morning, and I really can't wait to actually get here. It's a high pressurized job. We carry a lot of responsibility. So I've got this amazing team of women whereby we support each other, we collaborate. We're certainly not competitive. We work as a team. And that's what I try and espouse in the values of our firm, is a more feminine aspect of empathy and compassion for people, and actually how to communicate with people so effectively, because I believe that, or I love people far more than I love the law. The law is there to serve justice, but it's the people that we communicate with is what actually is so inspiring, to hear people's stories and to try and help them. Often people come in with very, very traumatized circumstances into the firm, and we're here to obviously support them. So it goes beyond just giving legal advice. I end up being a counselor. I have people phoning me at 2 o'clock in the morning. I've driven to the hospital on weekends or during the week because one of my clients was, abused badly. So it takes a lot of grit and determination, but I think absolutely a love for this. And that is why I love what I do.
Thank you so much for bringing us into your space and sharing your story with us. I always think that it is so important to share our stories because you never know who's listening and you never know who needed to hear what you had to say right now in this moment in order to be able to create a necessary shift for themselves in their life. So thank you very much for that. A question I'd like to ask is the work you do, like you said, it's tough, emotionally tough.
Yes.
How do you find balance? How do you not take it home, or how do you manage that and then still manage to be you yourself as an individual?
Okay, so that's a really great question, Zanele, because it is so difficult to find the balance. But I seem to have mastered that. I've been doing this work for 28 years. And as much as you think you can try and dissociate yourself from your matters, you can never do so. So I have found that for me, it's to take a great degree of care for myself. So that means I run almost every morning. I run on the promenade, I go into the forest. I also spend time with my family, my children, with my husband. I paint by numbers, which I love because that relaxes my nervous system. I sometimes do a bit of pottery. What I really love is I run retreats for women, sometimes for my clients as well. I find that incredibly inspiring to me because when I can inspire other women, tell them my story, share stories, impart some of the wisdom that I've gained over all of the years through all of the different matters that I've had to deal with. So I love doing that. And I'm always studying. I'm always learning. I learn from other women. I get inspired from people. Sometimes you can just meet a person in a supermarket and you can have a short and brief exchange, and that person can actually change your life in that moment. So that's pretty much what I try and do for balance. But I have to say that on the odd occasion, I do binge watch Netflix series for a couple of hours.
You sound like
calms me down.
I think KZN Top Business, they asked me what is it that I like to do in my spare time, and I was like, walks on the promenade. So you may bump into me in some mornings. I'm out there as well. And I said, I don't know, Netflix, something mind-numbing.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so very much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Awesome. Natalie, 60 seconds.
Hi, Zanele. Evening, everyone. I'm Natalie Keegan. I'm a mother to two boys, 17 and 13. My eldest going into matric next year and my youngest starting high school. I'm an experienced PR and communications professional. I've got plus minus 25 years experience, mostly in the corporate space. So recently I redirected my career. If you had asked me a year ago if I saw myself in business or as an entrepreneur, I would have said definitely not. But here I am. I can now say I'm a businesswoman. I partnered with Everest Strategic Communications. We launched our branch in April in KZN of this year. The head office is in Sandton, and the business was established in 2020. So we're a full service PR, communications and marketing agency. That's pretty much me. So we've got a footprint now in Richards Bay and in Sandton. So it's a new business, but we definitely reaping the rewards towards the end of 2022 in KZN. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And what have been the biggest shocks you have to your system, shifting from corporate to entrepreneurship? What were you not expecting?
I think pretty much everything. Being in the corporate space my whole career. So I think for me, the challenges were, yes, I have the relationships with leadership in the corporate space, business space. But for me, it was, I'm coming in as I am now a businesswoman and I'm looking for work. So the challenge for me was that it wasn't the same old story every day. I now had to think out of the box, as we have all since COVID. And I've had to sell myself on a different platform. I've had to come up with ideas. Obviously, since COVID, ways of work have normalized in the last 8 months. It has been a struggle, but it's to basically sell and market myself on a different level. So for me, that was, well, it's all been a challenge, but I'm loving every minute of it. I obviously have my ups and downs, but I'm definitely finding it a lot less challenging towards the end of this year.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing with us.
Thanks.
Nurishka, 60 seconds.
Hi everyone. Hi Zanele. My name is Nurishka Virana. I am a daughter, sister, and auntie. I am also the co-founder and director of Shoply. We are a web design and e-commerce agency. So we specialized in designing and developing conversion optimized websites, e-commerce stores, so online stores, marketplaces, e-learning platforms, and also other digital custom digital solutions. It wasn't where I started. I started in the teaching industry as a grade 4 teacher, but I did always want to go into marketing and business. And that's when I met my co-founder and business partner, and we started Shoply with the vision and the mission to help take businesses online so they can get more leads, get more customers, and we could help innovate their businesses.
Awesome. And I mean, e-commerce, everybody, the things you're talking about, everybody's trying to get their businesses onto those platforms. Everybody's trying to engage in those particular initiatives. What do you think are the greatest challenges facing SMEs, right? In that conversion from the old way they used to do business into trying to so-called digitize or sell IP or all of those type of things, which are the new part of the new way of doing business. I mean, what are the hurdles that you are helping some of your clients face?
I think the biggest hurdles is education. A lot of it is taking each client step by step through that process. So like you said, they're still in the very retail mindset, very brick and mortar. So to conceptualize now that their products are online, someone can add to cart, check out, the money is still coming into your account and they just have to deliver, is a new concept for them. So it's training and taking them through the process, educating them that it is actually very secure. There is the software, the payment gateways also have security in place. So times have changed, and I think also the brick and mortar stores have realized that they need to have a digital footprint. And you'll see that, I think, even if I can take Supertech, I think you have an online store aspect where you can actually buy stuff online. So it's not just brick and mortar stores, it's actual businesses. We have someone in the legal field here. You'll see in the online space, there's a company that was started called Legal Legends, where they help you with your contracts. They've got templates online that you can customize. So yes, the e-commerce space has exploded.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jennifer, 60 seconds.
Thank you, Zanele. Good evening to everyone. My name is Jennifer Reddy. I'm the CEO of a company called Morar Incorporated. At 37 years of age, I'm a married mom with 2 little girls. Having qualified as a CA from PricewaterhouseCoopers in 2010, I joined Morar Incorporated as an associate director, thereby commencing my journey down this whirlwind of 13 years later being CEO. Morar Incorporated is a financial services consulting firm of chartered accountants and registered auditors, and we provide a wide range of accounting solutions, auditing services, tax services, forensics, ICT, and internal audit services to both the private and public sectors. We have offices in all provinces. During my professional journey with Morar, I was driven to further educate myself in the professional realm, and I completed my strategic exam with the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, as well as obtaining my MBA from the Gordon Institute of Business Science. I became a chartered accountant, as in the beginning I was very naive and thought this career was about accounting, and 15 years later I've learned it's anything but that. Thank you.
What do you love about what you do the most? Top 3.
What do I love? I've loved that in my career, I was lucky enough to see progression. So I've achieved milestones that I set for myself, and being in this industry, I think there was a big challenge and I got over that challenge. I like that it's there's no set day at the office. You never know what phone call, email, SMS is going to come that's going to change your day. And I love that it's a people-based and a client-centered business. So those are 2 things that drive me, and I enjoy dealing with those 2 things in particular.
Fantastic. And I know that there's a lot of that's happening around women in the CA space. It used to be a very male dominated. We're seeing women come up the ranks. We're seeing organizations like ORCA, they're there. So the transformation aspect is happening. How would you say the accounting field is tracking in terms of women leadership? I mean, hell, we've got Tsakani Maluleka way up there. So how, yes, just in terms of KZN, where we are, how do you feel we're tracking?
I think there's good progress. Ironically, when I started my MBA, I did a little assignment tracking SICA initiatives. So the number of entrants into a CA program, but versus the number that enter C-suite level in organizations. And there is a disparity. So while we know, yes, in prominent circles, there has been transformation, it is still a boys' club. It's still an old boys' club. Many of my interactions now that I'm at the leadership level, you understand, it's been centered around a male-dominated environment. As a young woman that we progress within this environment, remember, we get married, we have our kids, our priorities change somewhat, our ability to service clients change somewhat according to flexibility. And I think in our accounting and auditing environment, that is transparent, you see it. On the flip side, though, I think in my 15 years, I see there's many women that want to climb up the ranks. So the sort of drive is there. Recruitment is much better. There's a lot of transformation at that level. It's the retention to get them into the leadership positions is what I think is the challenge. And
what sort of initiatives? I mean, I know that a lot of organizations have standard practice around leadership development. They identify the people that they think will be great. They send them to GIBS, or they send them to, Graduate School of Business, UCT, or Harvard, or whatever it may be, and they put them on track and they teach them all these great things. I mean, do you think that's enough in the commercial world in 2022 to bridge the gap from being put into a position or being given opportunity for position and to actually excel in the positions?
it's not. Remember, and I'm just going to speak from a personal experience of my year. I had to take the reins with a sudden crisis that happened within our firm. But I went to business school. I went to one of the top business schools. It doesn't prepare you from the real life experience. And so you do need the males around the table to help you through your journey, to teach you, to leverage of what they know. I think, Priona, I said the thing about golf, that it's a male sport. That's where business is done. Are we given the opportunity to go and play golf for the day? No, we've got kids, we've got husbands, we've got businesses to run. But it's more than just, saying from employment equity, this is what we need to do. From transformation, this is what we need to do. And then let's do our skills spend and empower these women to study. It's actually someone mentoring us, opening the networks, showing us this is the track you need to take to get to where you want to go at a leadership level.
So you believe we need sponsors?
Yes, we need mentors, we need coaches, and uplifting females are a big part, but you need the male counterpart that has access to these networks to allow us into these networks and validate us.
Validate us? I can start a whole other topic.
No, I mean more in like, when they take us
Anybody
to the
care
table.
to put their hand up?
No, I don't mean it in a sexist way. I mean more when they take us to the table, it's not because we're female. It's because we've earned this place according to them to be at this table. It's giving you the entry.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's giving us the entry to the game.
I'm going to be controversial. Do I need a man to say I have the credibility to be at the table, or that I have the right to be there, or that I am worthy to be at that table to validate me? I'd like to take an answer from Carol.
What I actually wanted to say was, when I started this journey in the public sector, I was only 29 when I was appointed as the Accountant General in the province. And at 35, I was made the head of department of economic development. I mean, it was a massive portfolio. And that was men who took a chance on me, and they supported me and they grew me. And I think often, we think that we've just been given these positions because we're female, but there's no ways that they would have given us those positions unless they believed that you showed that you had the competence. And I will be the first to admit that all of my mentors have been men that have supported me and have grown me. But I don't believe that that's what we need to answer your question. No, we certainly don't need men to show that we deserve to be where we are. But certainly in my own personal journey, I mean, as the head of department, I had Zweli Keys as my boss, and he is not somebody who sleeps at night. And I mean, he completely shaped and changed the way that I managed my business going forward. So, you can talk about these things, and I've had very few female seniors, and that shows you the lack of transformation at a senior level. It's only now that I've got MECs that are females that I'm reporting to, and they've got a different leadership style, and I think each of them bring a different kind of skill and expertise that helps shape you and that you can learn from.
Absolutely. It's quite interesting that a lot of the women we speak to, most of their sponsors or people that took a chance on them have been men. And maybe that's a conversation to be had. And we kind of touched on it last week in the webinar last week. Why is it not that it's other women pulling women up? What is the gap for us in order for us to take that leap? I'm going to take a response from Nureshka, and then Samantha, you can go after. In response, both your hands are up. Okay, go ahead, Nureshka.
Hi, Zanella. Yeah, I agree with Carol. I think from my side as well, I was given the opportunity and I was mentored by a male. And if anything, I was given so much support and there was so much belief in me, and I was never treated any differently. I was more respected, if any. And I think previously, I think what Jennifer, or how I think I was relating to that is, I don't think it's about validating us or us coming to the table, but I think it's the all boys club, and they can introduce us to the club. And once we introduce to the club, it's much easier to say, oh, hi, this is who I am and what I do. And they're like, okay, you know him. Okay, great. Then it's an easy in. And I'm not sure if that's what she was referring to, but that's how I would have interpreted. But I think that it has changed in terms of support in a big role. And I think that's what I've actually seen a lot of, especially around me and in my peers and colleagues.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Samantha?
I don't want to be a member of the boys club, and I certainly don't want to be validated by the men. I think historically we would have been given the opportunity by a male because we in male-dominated environments. So majority of the top level in industry has been male historically. So you would have always been given the break by a man. I mean, but my boss gave me the break, and I was the first female operations director for Southern Sun, and it didn't go down very well with the boys club, I can tell you that for free. But I didn't want to make friends with them. I'm not there to make friends. So, but the person that really shaped my career from a young age when I was a trainee was a female, and it was because she fought quite hard to become a senior manager. And I actually felt at first that she was quite a hard woman because I never saw her emotional. She kept everything in check. And the thing I learned from that is, you sometimes find that women want to be given the positions, they want to be powerful businesswomen, and they can be, but then, so they want the playing fields to be level, so they want the equal opportunity. But, if I'm emotional today and I cry, you need to feel sorry for me kind of thing. And that doesn't work either. So, if you want to get onto that field, you got to play, and you've got to play you've got to bring your A game.
100%. And here's my, I 100% hear what you're saying. I also don't believe in being a member of the boys club. I think that I am a woman. And I like to inhabit that energy and come into the world as a woman. Why is it that you think that women want to step into masculine energy sometimes when they enter that space, the corporate space? Why is it that it's kind of a default that, learn the game, play the game, step into the masculine energy, and we don't feel confident enough to go out and present ourselves in our own energy?
I don't think it's that. I think women are strong, and there are a lot of people that have that mantra that they would rather employ a female. Sometimes people prefer to employ a single female, preferably a single female who is a mother, because they work harder. They want their jobs, they need their jobs, and they provide for their families. And there are a lot of men out there that do believe that the women are stronger. Is there a jealousy aspect because women are kind of taking over their world? Yes, I do think so. So there are certainly men out there that I think could hamstring your progress. But by the same token, you've got to, I'm not saying you need to be masculine. You can be very feminine. And that's why I also say I don't want to be part of the boys club. But if I make a mistake or I mess up, and it happens, and you perhaps, your boss is not happy with you, a lot of women will have the teary eyes and they'll put on the baby faces, and they expect the sympathy. So if you expect that, then you can't be, you must be expected to be, you must want to be treated the same as your male counterparts, because then you earn their respect. So, I mean, it's taken time, and my colleagues that are also operations directors, I mean, there's no issue, we work together. But, you know, when I was a general manager and there were over 100 of us in the organization, to be made an ops director, there was a little bit of disgruntlement. But as soon as you are tough and you happy to take the punches and roll with the punches, as much as you happy to take the glamour and the success, that's how you earn the respect.
100%. Perfect. Guys, I know that we have some hands up. I'd like to just get to our last two finalists just to do their 60 seconds to introduce us, and then I'll come back to everybody for the comments. I know that this is an important topic, and I want us to obviously all get a chance to give our feedback. Lisa. Hi.
Hi, it's Lee's comments.
Lee. My apologies.
No worries. I wasn't sure if it was me or someone else that you're introducing. Yeah, I am a freelance journalist. I've worked as a journalist for the past 23 years. I've worked for various publications across South Africa, and I have been freelancing since 2013. So I write for mainly newspapers and online publications, but I also engage in freelance corporate writing and public relations writing. I service several PR consultancies, both locally and internationally.
Thank you. In the age of fake news, fast news, right? What are the greatest challenges? I mean, for me, I would imagine, you know, it used to be you waited for the paper, it was delivered to your doorstep the next morning. The journalists had time to fact check the stories and, you know, do everything that they needed to do. Now, as the story's unfolding, somebody's posting it somewhere, somebody's writing something. Surely that can create challenges around getting information correct. And obviously, we all know about fake news. Well, how has the information age, or the times that we're living in, and the way we consume our news, and the way we consume information, how has it changed?
Well, as you've explained, it's changed quite dramatically. Very rarely will you see people sitting reading hard copy newspapers these days. Some of the publications I write for produce both print still and online articles. And I think the big challenge has been for journalists, but I think if you have traditional training in journalism, you know your job and you're a professional and you're not going to publish fake news. Yes, there might be a race to be first, but my view, and those I think of most editors worthy of their salt, would say, you get it right. You know, you get it right, your credibility is at stake. So I would rather be second with the story, with the correct story, than first and have some of my facts incorrect. The one positive thing about, well, there are many positive things about online, you can reach a wide audience, is that if you do make an error, we're all human, we make mistakes. People sometimes reliable people give us information that they believed at the time was correct, but stories are developing and changing. At least we can go online and we can correct that fact if necessary. But I'm firmly one that believes in do your homework, do your research, corroborate your facts before you publish.
And it used to be that you went to sort of journalism school, you went to university, you studied how to enter into this particular industry. I mean, now I can just pick up my iPhone, open a YouTube channel, and I can be a mouthpiece, and I have an audience, like you just said. How has that impacted your industry?
In a way, there's a flip positive side to it. I mean, you get the fake news, but then you also have I'm sorry, someone is trying to call me and they know I'm in a webinar. My apologies. On the positive side is that we find stories online. Often Twitter will be the first place a story breaks because there's a motorist, he's at the scene of the big accident, he posts the photographs, a video, he's right there. So that gives us access to the scene much quicker than getting in our vehicle and driving out there for 2 hours. So wherever we are in the country, we can still we can report on stories, but we've still got to corroborate those facts. You can't just take it as fact. One would say, yes, there's a lot more competition in the online space, but I think publications that are credible, you as a reader know where you're going to go for your news. You know those big five who, and I won't mention them, but you know where you're going to find credible news. And that's where you're going to go. You might see something on one of these aggregation sites that just copy stories from wherever and steal them and put them online, or something on Facebook or on WhatsApp that's posted and fake news. We had a lot of that with the riots last year. And, you know, you will go and check and see with a credible source. So I think there's very much still a place for traditional journalism.
What do you enjoy writing about the most? What's dear to you?
I love writing stories, inspirational stories. You know, I love writing about entrepreneurs that have made it. You know, they've started small. There's a firm called Majosi Brothers. They started in Umlazi. They loaded their first window onto the last bus to deliver to their first client. So that when the client woke up in the morning, they would believe that they had just delivered it with their bakkie. You know, and that's how they started. And now they are building in your Cotswold Downs and your Zimbalis. And, you know, so those stories are inspirational. Those guys have made it to the Forbes 100 list of 30 people under 30, you know, who have succeeded in business. Those stories inspire me personally. And then I also love giving a voice to the voiceless, you know, to people who otherwise wouldn't be heard in society. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much for sharing with us. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, I believe we have Narusha, and I think I have spoken to everybody else. Narusha, 60 seconds, please.
Hi, I'm Narusha. I run a company called Visual Network SA, which is a one-stop production store, assisting movie productions with locations, accommodation, catering, crew, transport, and anything that one would need to shoot in KZN. I've worked with Carol, and she's amazing. I'm also the city producer of the 48-hour film project, which is an international short film competition whereby a short film in one weekend, and they get to see it in cinema the next, like 2 weeks later. And it's an amazing opportunity because the winner of, it's in 130 cities around the globe, they participate internationally for the top 10 film, which then gets screened at Cannes Film Festival. So just by entering a short film, somebody can end up there. Yeah, I'm also heading a project now with the KZN Film Commission, whereby we're going to be training and developing digital entrepreneurs, as we call it, creating short content and getting used to monetize smartphones, whether it's creating an advert for, you know, business in the area, or just getting your story out there or somebody else's story out there with a mobile phone, which is what we all have, but just to monetize it.
Speaking of monetization, thank you. I mean, we see so much content out there, right? And it's time consuming. I almost feel that putting out that content is a full-time job for businesses, you know, for individuals. How, you know, what are some key ways for anybody who's a business or an SME or thinking about monetizing digital? What are just some ideas that you could share with us?
Some ideas, or what really works right now, is affiliate marketing and pairing up with influencers, because they have like a huge network of followers, and their audience obviously trusts them and likes the content that they're sharing. So, you know, providing some brands, or, you know, placing your brand there, or giving them products to sample or to review, and giving them a link to your online store so people can purchase from them and they make money, and your brand and the brand makes money. So I think that's just one way, because you're right, there's just a lot of things online right now.
Well, yes, and I think it's a lot of hit and miss. I mean, I'm thinking if somebody is in an SME or somebody is new to this particular space, you know, just some direction. I think we've been bombarded with information, so it becomes really difficult to know, what we should be doing, and which direction one should be going. So and I think bigger organizations can afford to miss, right? A couple of times they've got the budgets to do that, but maybe smaller businesses not. And hopefully, if somebody's watching, we've been able to give them some information that can be helpful. Reshma, thank you very much. And I had made a mistake. We have one more person on the line, and that's Reshma.
Hi, Sanele, thank you. Yes, I thought I'd remind you. My name is Reshma Maharaj. I am the director and founder of 3 companies. Sometimes I get questions as to how I manage this, but I have a great team. I am a mom to 2 lovely kids. I'm married for 25 years. We own 3 companies, my core business being GR Extra Space, which was founded 16 years ago. We manufacture extra space solutions. Those are your classrooms, clinics, your home offices, your ablutions, and log cabins. So they serve various purposes, your new tech houses. It is 100% woman-owned business. I partnered with my husband in the second company called Heartbeat Training Academy. We offer accredited health and safety training programs from your first aid level 1, 2, and 3, basic firefighting, health, occupational health and safety, risk assessment, and we have a list of short skills programs. The third company is more my passion. I founded the Inspired Women magazine platform, which empowers ordinary women and youth to use their skills to become financially independent. And it's also a platform that shares stories and journeys like Benita had shared that inspired me, and it needs to inspire other women out there not to give up and feedback hope into other women that, yes, there is hope at the end of the tunnel. I am also the first vice president of the South Coast Business Chamber and Industries. I have a balanced diary with a great team, and hence I'm able to manage all these platforms, and we work well together. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Reshma. I think a great team really does make the difference. How did you get that right, do you think?
I think each platform, I have given it enough space to gain its momentum before I moved over to the next. Inspired was just my passion, so that has its own team that we manage. I have a good team. I got a supportive husband. Yes, we do face challenges. We do employ skilled staff to ensure that all the companies are running smoothly. We have operational managers, we have admin managers, and overall, I oversee that the companies are running smoothly. Yes, we do have unforeseen circumstances. I think what I'm good at doing as well is how to handle a situation calmly, how to handle an unhappy customer with a right and level head. So I think that's where I positioned myself, and it took years to build that, before I started delegating duties. But before I even delegate the duties, I make sure that the staff has been trained under our wing on how the company operates.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And you seem to have got the balance, you seem to have got the balance right. Doing a lot of different things, but it sounds like you're really surrounded by people you can trust, which I think becomes incredibly important.
It is important, Zanele, especially when you have a team that's with you from day one. And then it's not just having them there, it's about promoting them and empowering them and offering them the skills and opportunities as well to grow with the business as you grow. We have some of our artisans who didn't complete matric. You know, we trained them and now they can work without the support of the management team. You have our general worker who's started in the kitchen and who's been trained in admin, and she can now liaise with clients and customers. So you have to empower your team and make sure that they are happy and they would still stay with you. We had a young youth who completed matric, and while we empowered her, and she just successfully graduated in the Bachelor of Law yesterday. So these are, you know, we empower our team, that we're not here just to take your energy. We want to give that energy back as well. So we have a team that we work with and work with us. Even during this erratic economic times, we were able to help each other and support each other and still keep operations opened.
Fantastic. Thank you very, very much. We're probably very close to run out of time if we're not slightly over. We're going to take a couple minutes just to close out. But I know that we had one or two comments that I did say that I would come back to. I know Benita was one, and I'm not sure who the second person was. It could have been Priono, who's just stepped out. Benita, did you have a comment that you wanted to share earlier on?
Yes, so what I wanted to say that my experience has been completely different in terms of I've never experienced what it means, the men's club or anything like that. I've had incredible women mentors. Yes, I've had an amazing supportive husband who's an astute business person and who has taught me a lot about business. But in my practice, I actually, I teach and rise women to levels of empowerment. And my direct experience is, yes, there are some competitive women out there, but actually there are so many that are not, and that we have many sisters. And, you know, I always say if we stand shoulder to shoulder with one another, women are incredibly powerful and they can create magic, and we can just make our own way. I don't think we need to necessarily depend on other people to open doors for us. I think that we are powerful enough to open up our own doors. And I see that now all the time. I believe that women have got a much, much stronger voice now. You see younger women rising up now. They definitely have a voice, and patriarchy is diminishing. I know, and it's just that people were encultured in patriarchy, but it doesn't mean that men are necessarily patriarchal. It was just that kind of system that's been around for thousands of years. But I just want to say that as sisterhood, we have to look at each other's successes, support the successes and support the failures. And that's really how we make magic. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I couldn't think of a better note to close on than that. And to my fellow sisters, 30 seconds, closing words, Lise.
It was lovely chatting to you ladies and learning more about you and hearing your stories. Maybe one day I'll be able to tell some of them. Thank you for your time.
Narusha.
All the best to everybody. Keep shining and striving for the best and making a positive impact in the world we live in. Like you're doing. Thank you. Hi, did you hear me?
I think we lost you there a little bit. We lost you there towards the end.
I said, keep shining and soaring and leave your mark and make the positive impact in the world we live in.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And next we have Samantha.
Lovely chatting to you all, ladies, and lovely to meet you. It's so amazing that we have so much in common, and yet we are from such vastly different sectors, and our working experiences are so different. So it's been lovely chatting, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Reshma.
Hi, ladies. It was so lovely listening to each one of your journeys. I am really inspired. I would like to say that during these difficult times, and I know we all are swimming in or going in the same and sailing in the same boat, just keep your head up high, have confidence, be passionate about what you do. Remember how you started and never give up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nondumiso.
Thank you so much, Sanele. Thank you to all the beautiful ladies, wonderful stories. I would just like to say, even to the ladies that are listening to us, you know, whatever your hands find to do it with all your might, do it passionately, do it with tenacity, and never be afraid to take a chance on yourself. Give yourself a break, give yourself a chance. You know, you can do it, you can make it, have faith in you, because whatever desire that you have, it means God has put inside of you and He's given you the capability to actually fulfill it. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you. Carol.
Thanks, Anele, and it was great to meet such inspirational, powerful leaders. I think for me, it's just about, everybody has a role to play. And I think with this type of leadership and with those that are listening today, I really would encourage everyone to try and make the change to see the South Africa that we want to see for our children. Thanks.
Awesome. Benita.
So I actually want to just give a quote of Brene Brown, and she says, only when we're brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. And
Thank you.
I'm saying that for women.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rishka.
Thank you, Sanele. Thank you to all the lovely ladies. It was lovely to hear such inspiring stories, and from being in different industries, but having such amazing stories. And I think it's very inspirational. It just makes you want to do more. It's nice to see how passionate everyone is about their industry as well. And I look forward to actually meeting everyone in person on the 17th.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Jennifer.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you to Grant and his top business team. I think this is an excellent forum to promote empowerment of women and to enable us to share and collaborate on a forum like this. So I think that's a lovely initiative, and thank you, everyone.
Fantastic. I think the last person I have to ask is Priona. Have I asked everybody else?
Yes. So just on our side, we got to meet nearly all of the ladies while my team and I were filming the interviews. And just on behalf of the team and myself, would like to say, firstly, thank you to KZN Top Business, Grant and his team, Gail, Tracy, you guys are phenomenal. And more importantly, thank you to all of the ladies for sharing their stories. I mean, we stood behind the cameras, and me myself, I was so humbled and so inspired by the stories that come from these phenomenal women doing phenomenal things in their industry. So thank you. You have enriched my life already by sharing your stories. So honestly, it's such a privilege to be part of this communication.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute privilege to chat to each and every single one of you. And there's so much that binds, so much that we have in common, so much that binds us, so much that we have to offer one another in these forums. And, really hope that to the people that have joined us and the people that have been listening, we've been able to add some sort of light and some value in their particular journey as well. In closing, just want to quickly give out the prize winners from last week's webinar. So the prize of the Mangwanani Moonlight Spa voucher for a whole evening of pure therapy from 6 p.m. until late with drinks, a meal, and dessert was won by Usha Maharaj. And then Kylie Wood won a voucher from the Super Tech group for use on their in their online store. And we still have more lucky draw prizes to be won, including a one-night stay for 2 people at either Coastlands Musgrave or Coastlands Umhlanga, on a bed and breakfast basis. So join us next week, Thursday, 10th of November, for our final webinar. Thank you very much.